speaking of theater, the Cardboard Playhouse Theater Company, created in December 2004, prides itself on being one of the only children's theater companies in the Duke City that casts children on their ability to perform alone. Now, to date, Cardboard Playhouse has produced over 40 shows, and we got to look at what the kids are saying about this great organization.
I like being able to make the you kind of get to decide what your character is like.
Performing in front of people I don't know.
You get to pretend to be something that you can't be in real life.
I've learned that every part is it can become the chorus can still be a star. You can make the best out of it and make big choices, and it'll seem like a bigger part.
I've learned that it's not really thinking inside the box, it's thinking outside the box, inside the box.
They're not really, really strict.
Okay, you have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can have fun doing it.
Okay.
Not stressing that you're going to get in trouble.
It's really fun. I've had to quit soccer so that I could do this.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, I'd rather do acting.
I like it a lot.
All right, I wonder if Brittany would actually quit soccer for that. Brittany, of course, a huge soccer fan. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so Cardboard Playhouse Company, they are in their 10th anniversary season. They're presenting a brand new theatrical musical penned by local playwright Jason Witter, starring 29 local actors, featuring 26 of those actors from the ages of 8 to 18. My buddy Doug Montoya, the brave man, directing that. This musical actually the music written by another good buddy of mine, Casey Mraz. And we are fortunate enough to be joined by the artists, Jason, Casey themselves. Guys, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so Jason, if I understand this correctly, it existed as a play for a while,
Yeah.
and you revisited it and said this has the potential to become a musical, something bigger. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wrote the play back in 2003 when I was in grad school at UNM, and we produced it there, and then Cardboard Playhouse produced it again a few years later, and I always thought it would really lend itself to being a musical. The dialogue was very lyrical, and I always felt like it's kind of this horror comedy thing for kids, and I always felt like it could just really be a cool musical. So Casey and I were doing a show called Vampire Hamburger, a show he had written last year. We were doing that. I was acting in it. It was a musical Casey had written. We were doing it with Cardboard Playhouse. And I just approached Casey and was like, would you have any interest in turning Mimi and the Ghost into a musical? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we talked to Doug and Kristen over at Cardboard Playhouse, and they were like, yeah. So a year later, here we are, and it's very exciting.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the premise of the show. What's the show about?
Basically what it is, it's about Mimi, who's a young girl who has recently lost her mother. Her mother has passed away, and so she's living with her aunt. And her aunt is very strict, very much about, hard work and discipline will get you through life and all this. And Mimi is kind of used to living a little bit more of a fun existence, kind of fancy-free kind of thing, and so they clash because of that. And so they're taken away to this world of ghosts. It's called Ghostland, and these ghosts come and take them to this world, and they have to kind of work together and reconcile their differences, Mimi and her aunt do, to kind of come to terms with the fact that Mimi has lost her mother and her aunt has lost her sister. So they go to this world of ghosts and have all these adventures, crazy characters, all that stuff. And through it, they kind of learn the importance of love and memories and friendship, and they work it out and go back home.
It's fantastic. So, Casey, a couple of questions for you as the musical composer on this. Was it tough approaching this as a piece that had already kind of existed in a theatrical form, and for you to bring music into it, and also knowing that you're writing for kids? Does that change the way you compose the music?
Yeah, those are great questions. So to begin with, like Jason had said, the dialogue already had this very lyrical, rhythmic quality to it. So when we sat down to figure out where the songs would go, like all of our notes totally aligned. We were like, this scene is basically a song. Like this scene is basically just a song. And so it took very little effort for Jason to kind of just rework it as with lyrics. But then when I got into working with melodies and accompaniment, it all just came very fluidly, very smoothly. Because like I said, it already had this very lyrical, rhythmic quality to it. And then composing for kids. I think, you know, I mean, I love composing for anything, but particularly with kids, you know, like, you know, just a really catchy melody can go so far,
Yeah.
you know, with
Yeah.
anyone really, but the kids just like eat it up. And like to
Yeah.
hear these like 29 kids or 26 kids singing some of these songs, just like,
Yeah.
it's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I think that I mean, really the only tough part about that is just sort of what I find is like more technical.
Really?
And just in terms of like composing for their range.
Right.
You know, so it's happened in a couple songs where I composed in what I thought was going to be a good range, and you get in there in rehearsals and you're like, oh, it's way too low
totally different,
or way
yeah.
too high. So just shifting some keys around. That's actually the part that I find most challenging. You
That's
know. and
interesting.
so yeah.
So what would be a good age to bring kids into this?
Well, I mean, I think really any age, but like 7 and 8, I think is a really particularly very good. You know,
Yeah.
like they've developed language really well, and they usually I find kids are starting to get into music around that age.
Yeah.
Some get into it earlier, of course, you know.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
that's, at least for my son, I know, you know, that was when he started to understand music and like music. You know, he was around 7 years old. you
Yeah.
know, so.
Okay. Well, so Cardboard Playhouse presenting this show. When does it open?
October 10th.
October 10th. Okay. And how long is the run?
2 weekends. It'll be October 10th through the 19th. Be Fridays and Saturdays at 7 o'clock, and
Okay.
then Sundays at 2 o'clock.
Okay, and it's happening at North Fourth, is that right?
North Fourth Theater,
Okay,
correct.
fantastic. It's a
Yeah.
great venue to see this show,
Absolutely. Yeah.
especially with 29 actors, 26 of them. Doug Montoya, my hat's off to you, buddy, for directing that cast. For more information on this and the Cardboard Playhouse, head over to Cost.com, click on the Style tab. Break legs, guys. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you
Good
so
luck.
much.
Yeah, appreciate it.